In this video, I'll tell you about some great hobby motivation hacks put forward by my audience, and I bet you'll find something that helps you. Some folks find that motivation to build and paint their miniatures can sometimes be difficult. From time to time, it's easy, right? Like you're super motivated and you can't wait to get home from work or school or whatever and get that brush back in your hand. Other times, not so much. Other times, the motivation isn't readily available. Therefore, I like to talk here on the channel about ways to jumpstart your motivation and get you hobbying again. If the motivation isn't coming naturally, then maybe there's something that you can do to hack it and get yourself moving again. A few months ago, I told you about the one thing that you shouldn't do when your motivation, your hobby motivation, is at a low point. And that's, buy just randomly more hobby stuff, right? Pachow. In that video, I also asked viewers to comment with their hobby motivation hacks that help them because I wanted to make a video sharing a lot of the ideas that came from those comments. And there were a lot of different ideas and different hacks. I can't hit on every comment from that video because it'd make this video super exceedingly long. So what I did was I compiled and categorized a bunch of the hacks from that video, and now I'll share them with you. I hope that they can help. The first category of motivation hack is one that I find myself doing pretty frequently: changing tack. Now, this is actually a sailing term, right? Like when you're sailing into the wind, here's your boat and here's the wind, and you go at the wind, you kind of actually go sort of diagonally, and then you turn or tack, and then, change your direction and then go in it at a different direction. You just keep doing that back and forth when you're going into the wind. When the winds of hobby motivation are at your back, well, then it's easy to keep going in one direction and keep doing more hobby stuff. However, when the motivation is going against you, then you need to try switching things up to make progress and get things done. Some suggestions and hacks from the comments. Paint something different. Different army, genre, game, period, scale, or change techniques. Try new techniques or colors. I agree with this. Sometimes it's just even a small change, like going from a project that's like sci-fi to one that's fantasy, that can really help your motivation move forward. Or terrain. Build it, paint it, low stress, quick progress. This is also huge. Switching to terrain mode when you're unmotivated in building or painting miniatures can still keep you making progress. Plus, then you end up with sweet terrain for your games. Then there's, I'm a hobby butterfly, so I flit from one project to the next as I lose motivation for the current one. It keeps me from burning out. This is a good idea as long as you do eventually, flit back to, one of the previously unfinished projects and actually finish it. If you just start project after project after project, but you never finish any of them, then that's not necessarily great. Also, these projects that you change between, they don't have to be massive, right? Like having 2 or 3 projects to switch between helps creating a better flow. When I say 2 to 3 projects, I don't mean armies, but units or something like that. Another motivation hack: have a goal. In general, the goal of building and painting miniatures is to, get them finished, of course. However, that sometimes isn't enough by itself, right? Like sometimes a deadline, whether arbitrary or like a specific event, can really help you keep moving forward as well. Some folks find deadlines too restricting or nerve-wracking, and I get that. But many people, including myself, find that trying to hit a target date, especially if it's a fun game with friends or something like that, is enough motivation to keep them on track with the project. From the comments, the best inspiration I find to get started painting and keep on painting is to be involved in a league or competition with a local club that has a painting requirement. If you don't have a local club doing something like this, set a similar thing up with your friends, or even just set a target for yourself and stick to it. Deadlines are important and will get you to get started. The trick here is to not bite off more than you can chew, right? Like, don't say that you're going to do an army in a weekend like some YouTuber, right? Like stick with a reasonable goal for your deadline. Speaking of YouTubers, maybe this commenter's friend is one. My friend painted an entire 2,000 point 40k demon army in 3 days. My army hates his army. I can't let him be more painted than me. This is why having some sort of gaming group, or even just a friend group that paints together, can be really important for some folks. For many people, just painting kind of in a vacuum can be very demotivating. If you don't have someone or anyone really to paint with, see if a local store has like a painting night. Many of them do. And if they don't, well, then maybe ask the store to see if you can help them start one. This is a hobby hack I rarely ever do myself, but I hear that it helps some folks. Clean up your hobby area. Some people find a cluttered hobby desk to be demotivating. I don't seem to, but some folks do. So the idea, as I understand it, is when you're not motivated to build or paint, then you instead spend time cleaning up your hobby area. Organize your paints and your brushes, organize your in-progress projects, organize your pile of potential, whatever needs doing. The idea is that after everything is all organized and cleaned up, then you'll want to start hobbying again. From the comments, if your hobby space is a disaster and a mess, stop. Spend the day just cleaning and organizing your workspace. If your workspace is a disorganized mess with unfinished projects everywhere, it will bleed into your painting, building, and stress. Clean, organize, and clear. You can't be productive in a trash pile. At least most normal people can't. Now, I'm not sure why that commenter had to attack me personally, but I guess if the general sentiment helps out other normal people, then, I'll take it. And sometimes you don't declutter by organizing, sometimes you sell. Sell stuff you don't need or haven't used in a while. This includes miniatures, boxes, and paints. Too much stuff often makes you feel obligated to use it, and if you don't use it, you feel guilty. When you feel guilty, you can get mentally blocked to paint. I know I like paints, but it set me mentally free just selling paints or miniatures I'm not using or going to use. It can reset you and voila, some mojo to paint things. And mojo can be pretty important. However, the hack that works best for me, I've found over the many, many years when my motivation is lagging, is to start small. A big project can be daunting, It can be seen as like a huge hill to climb, and that alone can stall your motivation. Sometimes it's just really hard to decide where to start, especially on a big project. My motto for years and years has been this: start small, grow slowly. It works great in the hobby because pretty much all hobby projects can be broken down into smaller parts, mainly because they're all, made of smaller parts, on a sprue and all that kind of stuff. So start there. One commenter said, I've had to leave army scale games behind. Too many models and not enough time to paint. Playing Battletech, I have very few minis waiting to be painted. This is one of the many reasons I'm so interested in skirmish games these days. I can usually only have 5 to 10 models to paint for an entire force in a skirmish game, therefore it's far easier to keep my motivation up. Having to paint like 80 or 120 models for an army, even if I break them up into smaller projects, can still be a real motivation killer for me. Sometimes it's not the small amount of models, but it's trying to use just small amounts of time. Sit at your desk each day for 5 minutes, pick up a brush, and see if you get an urge. If not, do something else. For me, just sitting and holding the brush probably wouldn't do it. I'd have to do at least one small bit of a model, right? Like actually work on something. I made a video 5 years ago that I've been told has helped a lot of folks. Pachow. And it's about doing just one thing, right? If you can. If you're gonna sit at your hobby area, then pick up that brush and just paint the holster on the character's pistol, or just paint the boots, or just paint the helmet, see where it goes. Another comment. I found what works for me to get back into it. Tackle a small project that can be done quickly, like painting a simple, easy miniature or small squad. Last winter, I started back by painting 5 mummies in 2 evenings, which would have been 1 evening if not for waiting for the shade to dry. Small and easy projects like painting 5 mummies will seem less daunting and allow you to get some forward movement. While waiting for those washes to dry on your mummies, maybe that's when you start clipping and building that big model that you've been putting off. And lastly, remember that even small bits of progress are still progress. From the comments, I find some pockets of free time to paint a little while every day, even if it's just 30 minutes. And I set small goals. I paint a minimum size unit at a time. When I do that, I can get a unit done in 5 days' time. It's slow, but it's still progress. Painting every day, every single day, even for as little as 30 minutes, is a luxury for some folks with work and family and all the things that take up time. But if you commit to spending some time when you can, right, you'll find that progress happens and you'll grow slowly. So as it turns out, I have a smart audience on this channel, which is nice. If you feel stuck and unmotivated to build or to paint your models or terrain or whatever, take a good look at this video again and try some of these ideas. See if they work for you. Not every idea works for every person, but there's probably something here that can help you. Do you have a great motivation hack that you didn't see in this video? Let us all know down in the comments below. If you'd like to do some hacking of YouTube, then, do a depressmentation on the like button. It really helps the channel a bunch, and I appreciate it. Also, if you want to see more videos like this every single Friday, hit subscribe while you're down there as well. It's free. Thanks for watching.